First of all, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this. This kind of thing takes some bravery, you know what I mean? And I hope that you get a chance to impact the lives of young people when they get a chance to see this. So, thank you. All right, so let's start with, how old were you when you first started using?
I was 15.
15 years old.
Yeah.
And did you have access to the drugs? Like, was it hanging around a wrong kind of crowd, or?
It was pressure mostly. At the time, there was a guy that I liked, and in order for me to like this man, I had the impression of using drugs would make that better. And he pressured me into it, and I went with it because I wanted to feel cool and get him to like me, and that's where it went to a downhill right there.
You remember like the circumstances, like how that day went?
Well, I remember being dropped off from my grandparents. Mom wasn't home, of course, so I had the place to myself. Invited dude over. He was 18, and kind of led down from there. He kept talking about it, and he asked me if I smoked, and I lied, and I said yeah, because I didn't want to look like a little kid at the time, and that's how that happened.
What was the drug?
It was weed.
Okay. Do you think, like, so you already said that it was more pressure.
Yes.
Because of, like, you know, trying to get somebody to like you, and so they don't think you some like young scrub or whatever, so
yeah.
That kind of thing. What advice would you give another young person who is pressured in that same kind of way?
I would tell them not to fall under the pressure. Like, that's the problem that happened to me. I could have gotten out of the situation. You don't have to look cool and do drugs to look cool. There's lots of things you can do besides that to look cool. Your smartness makes you look cool. You know, being successful in life makes you look cool. Because it will drag your life down if you do it. It will.
Do you believe in that, that marijuana is a gateway drug? I mean, they say that a lot in our field of work. And meaning gateway, meaning that it can progress and introduce you and open the gates to other drugs.
Yes, in my case, that's how it happened. That was my gateway drug, and I didn't understand the meaning until a month ago. And that took 5 years to realize that. And sadly, I was introduced into stronger drugs because of it. And it really does open the gates, because eventually it won't be enough, and you're going to want to find more.
Perfect. Okay, so this next question is, when did you realize that you were an addict?
I realized I was an addict this year on August 30th. Is when I realized I had a drug problem, and it gotten out of hand, and I lost control for it.
Okay, so we're talking 5-year progression from start of introducing marijuana.
Yes.
And it progressed all the way up to recently where you were like, okay, I think I got a problem, right? So that's 5 years. What other drugs? Were there other drugs and alcohol along the way? What were they?
Yes, at age 16 is where I got worse with weed. I've lost a few people, and a few deaths kind of triggered me into falling deep into weed, and I started drinking at that point. That progressed all the way until 19, where I was introduced into doing meth. And that was Christmas of last year, 2019. It progressed a lot worse. I was in my first rehab at 19. I ended up leaving, was there for 23 days, and I got hooked on a needle. That's where it got a lot worse. I was introduced to heroin then, and then later on I came down and got introduced to crack cocaine, and it definitely progressed from there. And was introduced to Molly, cocaine, so it furthered on, and it got bad when I lost basically everything and lost myself with it, and I couldn't even control myself anymore. I hated the drug so much, but the drug didn't want to quit me. I couldn't quit it, it couldn't quit me.
Okay, so we call that where you say you lost control. We call that rock bottom. What was your rock bottom? Like the lowest point that you were like, okay, this is a problem. I need help.
My lowest point was being 20 years old with no family contact. They didn't want nothing to do with me. My boyfriend was about to leave me. I was getting that bad, and I was getting to the point where I didn't care if I was dead or alive anymore.
Where were you living at the time?
I was upgraded from a homeless building to abandoned bar into a hotel, and been in and out of a hotel, and it didn't get better from there.
So I mean that's homeless. I mean, right?
Basically,
yeah.
I had to carry my stuff around with me every day. Check out at 11. I had somewhere to sleep at night, but during the day I had nowhere to go.
We go back to marijuana, right? There's a lot of young people, it's glamorized in music and film, and pretty much around the world it's become more legal and all of that. So it's getting laxed, right? But knowing that you're introducing a substance into your body that can potentially change your brain, change the way your brain functions. What did you start off like? Did you start off with like smoking one joint or a blunt a day to
basically what? At 15, I was still new to it, didn't have money, got it from a guy. That was once a month, and then skip a few months, once a month. As I got older into 16, I started working. I dropped out of school. I was smoking almost every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so daily amount.
Daily amount. And
do you know about how much money that would be? Like
I would
20 a day?
$20 a day, or I'd blow almost $200 in a week.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
So spending lots of money on it.
20 a day, so we're looking at 140 to 200 a week.
Yep.
Is the okay.
And it got a lot worse at 18 when I moved out of my mom's house. So
you have more freedom.
Oh yeah. And that was the bad part about it. I had a taste of freedom. I just turned 18. I thought I was all this and that. I was not this and that, And got into a friend's house living with them and had drug dealers living there. Lucky I got out of the situation because 2 months after I moved out, the place got raided and everyone got locked up in there. That could have been me. I'm lucky I've not been arrested over something like this, because that's how bad it could escalate. Even if it's just weed, it's still a bad problem.
Mm-hmm.
And as I progressed to 19, it got a lot worse. I reached up to 200 to almost 300 per 5 days. I could blow through 100 a day if I felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
I got into pure THC, which is more stronger than weed. It's still the same, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I got a lot worse with it. I could blow through 10 G's a day. After that, basically on Christmas Day.
Wait, did you say 10 G's?
Yeah.
$10,000?
No.
What is G's?
It's $100 a day.
100. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm spending $100 a day on weed. Which is ridiculous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But I was a manager and I made that kind of money, so I was still taking care of responsibilities, but slowly I wasn't.
Was it the tolerance that was building up? So whatever amount we were using before, it didn't get you as high, so you had to up it.
Basically, and I was one of those persons, you smoke it to get high, but I smoke it to get super high. I want it all gone, so I'm getting stupid high. Yeah, basically wasteful, if you want to call it that, but it wasn't enough for me. The high just wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it increased.
Okay, so now we've still only been adding up marijuana costs, weed costs, right?
Yep.
Once you progress to the other drugs, the stronger, the crystal meth and the heroin, how like that was harder to get, more it was less accessible, it cost more money?
Well, I had a friend, and this is where it got really bad. Worked with this guy, didn't know anything about it. He asked me, "Yeah, you do ice?" That's a term for meth. And was looking for weed. Nobody had weed. This is how it's a gateway drug. Well, do you want to try meth? I'm like, hey, you're funny, man. I smoke weed. Why am I gonna jump into that? And he's just like, oh, it's the same but better, you know. And I was just like, I'll try it one time. I'll try it one time, right? That was not the one time I tried it. $20 a day went towards it. $20 every day. It didn't start increasing because I started helping my friend sell. And I got him a job at my job. I'm a manager for Wendy's. So when I got him hired on, now I got the drug dealer working at my schedule. And we can leave when we want and all of that. So I'm getting deals on it. I can just give him 20 and I can get a gram or two out of it, which would be $100 right there. So the smarter I was getting at it, which was bad, I was getting smart with my money and my drugs. So it increased the drug problem worse. Very bad.
Wow.
Escalated. It escalated there.
I wasn't ready for that part because that is very genius.
Yep.
To finesse a larger amount of drugs for a cheaper amount of money.
Basically.
You know, but
it's all because I had a car and he didn't, so I can help him deliver his deals and I get the dealer's cut out of it. Yep.
So you're in treatment now.
Yep.
Right? What is a day in the life of a person in treatment? What is that? So what time you wake up to blah, blah, blah?
We have a structured schedule here.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up at 6:30. I make my bed first thing in the morning, brush my teeth, get ready for the day. At 7:30, we start our morning chores. I take care of the group room. I vacuum it for the ladies. I clean the bathroom. And I walk down at close to 8, and I do an extra part. I'll go back there in the kitchen and help them get ready for breakfast because there's usually one staff on there, so I'll help them out so the ladies can eat. We have classes all day. Usually we have yoga on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays. We have art therapy. We have therapeutic classes. And it's like a nice structured day, so it gets you in the jump of, you know, kind of having an orderly day, like not having things out of whack like it used to be. And we have our lunch at 12 in the afternoon. Dinner time is 5 p.m. We get a snack and have our medicine, and lights out at 10:30. So it's very structured. It keeps
day.
Yeah, it keeps us busy. That's a good thing.
What does recovery mean to you this time?
It means everything and anything. It is very important to me now. It's either life or death now with me. And I decided to make it my second, but I'm determined to make it my last.
I hear that. So what would you tell someone that is on the right track but decides to make bad choices?
It's okay to mess up once, but if you catch yourself before you fall, you can get right back up. As long as you pick yourself up, that's all that matters, because we're not perfect. We're human, we make mistakes, but as long as you pick yourself back up, you got it.
What are some steps that you're going to take to continue to stay clean after treatment?
I'm going to keep working with my sponsor, making sure I'm taking my medicine, going to my therapy for my trauma, making sure I have good people around me that support me and don't bring me down. And always making sure I take one day at a time.
I like that one, where you having good people around you, right? Because the saying goes, birds of a feather fly together. So that's usually the first thing that somebody said. Oh, were you hanging with a bad crowd? Then that's the reason that you were acting bad. You know what I mean? So if we really believe that, then you put the right people around you, then you should be acting right? You know what I mean? Like, so having a strong support system is super important.
Yes,
and I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Because none of this stuff we can do on our own.
We can't.
Not even if you think like, oh, I got it all together, I can handle it. No, we all need support.
It's better to do it with people like you, because I support you.
Yeah.
Don't isolate yourself.
The other thing you mentioned was trauma. And that is something that we all have on different scales, whether it is direct or indirect. You know what I mean? Like, something could happen traumatically to a family member of mine that's not me, but I could still feel that. You know what I mean? And so it's important. I'm glad you said that you still continue to get therapy for your past traumas. Are you involved in that right now?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. And how's that been?
We're slowly getting through it, and it helps me out talking about it, because there's things. This is the first time of me talking these things out. I haven't even told my own mama, because I don't like making her worry with my problems. So it feels good to talk to a complete stranger and get it out. And they're really helping me out through this, because when I came in here, I didn't think a 20-year-old that's not in the military could have PTSD, because that's what my version of it was, that only people in the military have PTSD. But it's not true. Being homeless and the things I've grown up with, that's trauma right there. Anybody can have PTSD. You have someone dying, you went through something awful, man. No trauma is too small for anything. So it's definitely something I'm still working on, but I'm getting better with it.
Were there any legal issues while you were out there?
I am lucky. I mean it. I'm lucky that I have never been arrested. Nothing. Literally, I've only gotten a ticket for citation. I'm lucky. And I seriously mean it, because not many people are lucky.
But I'm sure you've heard stories.
I almost had a felony charge that was supposed to be for me, and my friend took it from me. We got pulled over. I'm messed up, of course. I'm tweaking on the road. I'm trying to drive perfect, because I'm driving through a part of Tennessee that you're like, there's lots of cops in that area, and they're gonna get you. Are you drunk, ma'am? That's what he asked me. I'm like, I'm 19. Do I look drunk? He's just like, you just weaving a little bit. I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm like, it's dark, and they got their light beamers on me and all that, right in my face. He's just like, okay. But two got busted in there with me, and I rolled free, because they saw me in my work uniform, and I told them I'm taking my employees home. Yeah. So my friend had my gram of meth in his pocket. And I said, give it here. He's like, no, I'm going down. He told me to get out of this. That was God right there. Because I could have a felony charge on me right now, and I'm walking around here with nothing on me. So I'd say I'm very lucky, and I've been taking a lot of things for granted. So I would tell anybody that doesn't have legal problems right now and is messing up, get your shit together. I mean it. Because you don't know how bad that can mess your life up. You ain't gonna be able to get a proper job. You're gonna have people looking at you sideways, and your life won't be the same. Because my sister's going through it right now, and I feel for her. And she didn't even do anything. It's just wrong place, wrong time. It don't matter. You could be hanging out with somebody, and you don't even know they got stuff on them, but you're gonna go down with them. So don't go down with the wrong crowd. That's why you gotta make sure you ain't a follower.
Keep your circle tight. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all the questions I have for you. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with?
Just don't fall into the wrong crowd. I was in school. I'm literally I just turned 20. I'm not that young. I know it's really bad in school to follow the wrong crowd, and a lot of people do it to fit in and look cool, but don't be that person.
Oh, question for you. So, what do you plan to like do? Are you going back to school? Are you going to study something?
I am. I'm gonna go back and get my GED, and I'm gonna go to college, and so I can do beauty school. So I want to open my own beauty shop.
Hey, nice. And it is so good that you were able to address some of these issues early. You're not alone. You know what I mean? There's people walking around. Obviously, you know this because you have been in treatment amongst other women, and there are a variety of ages, right?
And there's one thing they told me that they could have stopped it at the age they were. There's people in their 60s having to get their life together. So don't be that person who thinks, oh, I can't pick myself up at this certain age. I got someone who's 45 telling me, she's finally getting her life together at 45 and she regrets it. Don't let it go to that age. You can stop it right now. You just got to have the mind and the heart for it. Mm-hmm. And you can stop it altogether by not picking it up right now. Just leave it be. It's something that you need to be looking into, because it's nothing but the devil's work, and I mean it by that.
I mean, what we really tell youngsters is to not start drug use or drinking early, because your brain is still developing. Yeah. That's just plain and simple. So once you become an adult, right? Because your brain still ain't fully developed until 25, right? Up to 25. But once you become, the closer you get to that age, to 25, you can make a better, more informed decision on if you want to pick up a drug, if you want to try a beer or whatever, because people are going to do what they want to do, right? Yeah. But as long as you don't start that thing early, you don't awaken something that's there sleeping, you don't know what's going on, right? Then that's what we always recommend. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell somebody who's like 21 to like, don't sip that beer, don't have a drink. You know what I mean? Like, you can, because you can, but do you have your right mind to make that decision?
Right.
You can't make that decision at 13, 14, 15. Like, you can't,
And like another thing I'm going to leave them with, I haven't been this happy since I was 14.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I reached 60 days clean tomorrow.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm